All right, guys, so today we are looking at how we're gonna add value to our grid drawings, our level 1 grid drawings. When you get done, you should have a nice drawing of a tree that matches the small picture. So, I'm gonna show you probably two of the most popular options to add value to them. And we are gonna color these in colored pencil, so keep that in mind. The first one, very simple. You're gonna have positive space one color, negative space another color. So the positive space includes everything that's part of the tree. That's positive. The negative space would be everything that's in the background, including these little holes that you see through the limbs, including these little holes that are in between the ground roots. You would color those another color. The second popular way of adding value to these is a checkerboard pattern. So it's a little bit more difficult. People say that it's a little bit harder to read. I guess it depends on the colors you choose. But pretty much what you're doing, you're alternating colors, between two colors. And when you get to a part of the tree, like for example, in this square, when you get to a part of the tree, like if you start blue and you run into an outline of the tree, then it would switch colors in that same square. That way, inside of the tree, it's the opposite checkerboard pattern. So once you get to one of the tree lines, you would switch colors. So that's your second option. Now, if you can think of another way to add value that's nice and creative, I'm all for it. The main thing is we don't want to see any pencil mark. For example, here on this one is all colored pencil. We want to get rid of the gray of the graphite. Same thing with this one. And this one, since it's just two colors, we got rid of the grid. So if you're just gonna do this two color pattern, you wanna completely erase your grid and then just color it using colored pencil. What we don't want, and I'll try to demonstrate right here on this paper. Let's say, you have a nice drawing of a tree. You don't want there to be one color. And I'm just kind of doing this quickly. So you can see, and then the background, I guess we can do green, I guess. We'll do green. I don't know if you can see that, but right here, you can still see the pencil line in between, this pencil line. You don't want to see any of this gray. So how do you not see that line? Well, the easiest thing to do is with a nice big white eraser is to erase as much of your picture as you can, but to the point where you can still see it. And then depending on what colors you're using, I'll usually take the darker color and use that to outline, go over the lines I drew. And once I have it outlined, then I will come in and add my color. Like I said, I'm kind of coloring pretty fast just so I can show you how to do this on the video. But if I was coloring correctly, I would take my time, right? Remember, when we color with color pencils, we're coloring in small sections. We are just moving fingers and wrists, not the entire arm. All right, and that's how you would get rid of seeing the gray lead of the pencil. So, talking about coloring with color pencil, remember that when we use color pencil, we're trying to color in layers. So for example, this first layer, I went in that direction. So let's say I finished coloring my first layer. It's like a medium pressure, not too dark. So my second layer, I would go in the opposite direction. Something like, in this direction. Like I've said before, you don't want to press down too hard at any one time, because what will happen is you'll get a wax bloom, which means the wax, that's the binder that holds the color pencil together will rise to the top and give you like this crusty white looking film after a couple of days on your colored pencil. That's how come the best way to use these is in layers. What we're looking for is a nice even finish where you can't see what direction we colored in. And if I wanted to, if I needed to, if I could still see directional strokes, then I would come in with a third layer, probably, you know, one of the other directions. And that's how you use colored pencil. Now, the coloring is probably what's gonna take the most on this picture. You can draw it out if you get done by today. And maybe if you're not done with the drawing itself, if you can get done by the next 15 minutes and then start your coloring, you'll be on good track to finish this on time, because you will have today and next class to work on this. So, you know, figure out what pattern you're gonna use as you're drawing. As you can see here, I kind of did the same thing. I'm coming in with the eraser and lightly and erasing my pencil, but to where I can still see it, then I'm outlining. See, I'm using the brown there and then coloring it in. So remember those steps. We do not want to see your grid. Or let me say this again. We do not want to see your pencil. If you are coloring in the checkerboard pattern, well, it's obvious we are going to see your grid, because that's what you're using to switch your colors back and forth. If you are using the positive negative space 2 color scheme, positive negative, we don't want to see your grid. Erase your grid. And like I said, if there's any other way that you would like to add value to this, nice creative way, I'm all for it. I started doing this one last year, and it's kind of a fine point Sharpie, and I just came in with the ruler and just did some really fine lines, and in between each square I switched directions. So this one's going at a diagonal this way, this one will go opposite, and just going back and forth, back and forth. So I thought that looked kind of cool. So if you want to try something else, just let me know. I just really like how it creates this pattern with the like square looking holes. I don't know what to call it, but anyway, I've been working on this for a while. So if you have an idea to add value some other way, I'm all for it. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and let you guys get to work. Remember, we do not want to see directional strokes when you're coloring. It should be nice, even, smooth, where you can't tell what direction you color. That's the main objective of this value when you're adding the value. No pencil, we don't want to see any pencil. We don't want to see any directional strokes. Take your time, small sections at a time.